Thank you. Australia is in a housing crisis, a housing catastrophe. 10 cities are appearing across the country in a way many people have never seen before. I've been to them. Disgraceful. In almost every major Queensland city I've been to, the tents are there. People sleeping under bridges, in caravans, in parks, in their family car. In August 2020, the national average rent was $437 a week. It's now $627 a week, an increase of 40% over just a few years. In 1987, the average house price was 2.8 times the average income. Today, a house price is 9.7 times the income. 9.7, nearly 10 times. What hope have our children got? A major driver of the housing crisis is Australia's turbocharged immigration program. And listen to the facts that I come up with soon. And remember that I'm not against migration. I was born in India. I'm half migrant. Australia has a very proud history of migrants building this country. But at the moment we have too many. Too many. So let me give you those figures. Australia's net overseas migration used to average a bit over 80,000 a year. For the 2023 year, our net intake was an astonishing 547,000 new people. More than 500,000 new people net. In the 9 months to September 2024, 394,000 immigrants have been added to the population. That puts us well on track for yet another year of more than 500,000 arrivals into the country. That's net. That's after the people who've left have been removed from that count. Yet soon after setting Australia's immigration record last year, Prime Minister Albanese promised he would cut immigration rates. Instead, he increased immigration rates and is on track for a second new record in a row. Before 2020, and excluding tourists and short-stay crew, there were around 1.8 million temporary visa holders in the country. 1.8 million. Today, that number is 2.45 million temporary visa holders in the country, an increase of a third. Using Australia's average household size of about 2.5 people per dwelling, that means temporary visa holders are taking up 1 million homes. 1 million homes. 1 million unavailable because of this immigration program. The Master Builders Association October Housing Review shows that in the 12 months to June 30th this year, only 158,000 homes were completed. So much for your housing policy. Less than we needed to cover new arrivals, let alone the homeless and those sharing and who want their own place. Every year this Labor government is in power is yet another year Australia's housing crisis becomes worse. That's why it's beyond a crisis, it's a catastrophe. The ALP and the Greens can promise more houses all you like. Houses aren't built out of rhetoric. When Australians are sleeping on the street, we have to stop the flow of more people into the country. Some of these temporary visa holders have to leave. Let's start with the 400,000 overseas students who have completed or discontinued their study and have failed the 100-point test necessary for permanent residence. These students are in a limbo which is best solved returning home and developing their own countries with the skills learnt here. Then there are hundreds of thousands of long-stay visa holders who have failed to learn English, failed to get a job and who nonetheless avail themselves of social security. I'll say that again. Failed to learn English, fail to get a job and are on social security that Australian taxpayers are paying. If someone has been in this country for 5 years and has failed to earn their own way, then their visa must be critically reviewed to determine if Australia is the right place for them. It's time to put the temporary back into temporary visa holder. Our country is bleeding. Stop twisting the knife. The unprecedented level of immigration isn't just leading to the housing crisis. 2.45 million extra people adds to inflation. Inflation is caused when too much demand is chasing too few goods. It's really simple. 2.45 million new arrivals is a lot of new demand. It's a hell of a lot. The government's net zero energy policy has driven up power prices. We can all see that. Reduced the capacity of agriculture and manufacturing to meet this demand, leading to demand inflation, a double whammy on inflation. The Reserve Bank has refused to lower interest rates because they have publicly stated this unprecedented rate of immigration is creating so much excess demand, and said that reducing interest rates now would cause inflation to worsen. House prices are at highs. Now we've got interest rates high. This is a huge catastrophe. The Reserve Bank has refused to lower interest rates because they have publicly stated this unprecedented rate of immigration is creating so much excess demand and inflation. And why is the government doing this? Because, as Senator Hanson said, we have been in a per capita recession. We've been in a per capita recession per person now for 6 quarters. We should be in recession, according to the performance of our economy. The only reason we're not in recession is because they're flooding the joint with migrants to bump up the gross domestic product. You see, a recession is defined as 2 quarters of negative gross domestic product. So the only thing saving the recession tag being hung around Prime Minister Albanese's neck and Treasurer Jim Chalmers' neck is the record immigration coming in to take us over zero, so we're just barely hanging in there. They don't want to be tagged with the Prime Minister and the Treasurer who were in office when the recession hit. Instead, they'll let hundreds of thousands of people go without what we need, facing inflation and tens of thousands of people out of home. Immigration is also affecting a health response. Ambulance ramping is at all-time highs in most states, including my home state of Queensland. Now, it takes time to train paramedics, expand emergency departments and buy new ambulances. The pace of the government's increase in new arrivals has placed demand on a health system, and it simply can't keep up. Lives are at stake. People are dying. And Labor does not care. Doesn't care about the working families, mums and dads working, coming home at night to their family car in a park, see if their kids are still there. That's what this government is doing. One of the largest budget costs is more infrastructure, especially on roads and transport. These projects are collectively costing hundreds of billions of dollars. The huge demand for infrastructure, materials and qualified people is driving up the cost of infrastructure, adding to inflation. Many of these projects wouldn't be necessary if we didn't have an extra 2.45 million people in the country. And the people coming to work from the Gold Coast to Brisbane, people coming to work from the Sunshine Coast, even Caboolture, Burpengary, Morayfield, every day to work in the city of Brisbane, you're tied up in a car park, stationary traffic for hours, your life just slipping away. We've got people sleeping under bridges, as I said a minute ago, mother and father returning after work to see if their children are still in the car in which they live in a park or a showground. Or maybe a tent under a bridge. Yet Australia has the world's richest reserves of minerals, bar none. And we've got people sleeping in tents because the Labor government does not care. It's a vicious cycle where the government claims we can fix the immigration problem with more immigration. And we can fix the housing catastrophe by adding bureaucrats and more immigration. Fix housing, the catastrophe, with more immigration.